What? I'm not running today. It's only day number 3. How is this possible? Well, I'm going for a run with my brother later this morning, so I'm just gonna do the talk while I get hydrated for the day. And I want to talk about how often do I do leg day, because today is leg day again. And if you remember, 2 days ago I did leg day already, so that's kind of fast, right? How the hell can you recover? Thing is, I don't. I don't recover from leg day in 2 days. But what I do instead is I split up my leg day in hamstrings and quadriceps. If you noticed, on the last leg day, I only did my quadriceps. I did pistol squats and then the pistol leg press, I call them. And I'm still feeling them. And yesterday I felt them as well during the run. I was like, holy shit, my legs feel heavy. Why would that be? Because I did a heavy leg session. So, of course, I can't do leg day hard every 2 days, but what I can do, and what works for me, is to split up leg day into two parts. And then basically what happens is I have quadriceps, which is the heavier of the two, or at least it has the most impact. And then on the other day, today, I will do hamstrings. And on the hamstrings, what usually happens for me is that hamstrings have less of an effect on running or whatever. They feel, I feel less lethargic the day after. And you say, Bill, if you split up leg day, it becomes easy. Some people say like, oh, leg day is supposed to be hard. You can't split it up. Well, for some people, that's true. I think you can just do whatever you want because, you know, most, or I will not say most people, but a lot of people don't even do leg day. So for me, whatever gets you going to do leg day, just do it. And for me, it's just splitting it up because I used to like kind of hate leg day because if I did leg day, I had my hamstrings and I had my quadriceps, and then the day after or the day after that, I wouldn't be able to train anymore. I wouldn't be able to do planche. I wouldn't be able to do front lever, which I love so much, as you know, because my lower back was sore, which I need for front lever. My legs were feeling super heavy on both like quadriceps and hamstrings, and the leg day itself would be enjoyable. I would love doing the pistol squats. I would love doing like the barbell squats, which I did for a while. But just in my mind, I would always have, well, if I go too hard, then I can't train for a long time. And I didn't enjoy that thought, as you know, because I train every day. So, yeah, the advantage of splitting it up is obviously that you have less of an impact on other training. Yes, of course, my legs feel heavy after quadriceps day, especially because now I'm doing the heavy stuff. But when I do the volume stuff, I did 400 squats the day before the previous leg day. I feel that for quite a long while. I was feeling heavy for 3 days, and I could, feel it in my run. I was running like a minute slower per kilometer. But yeah, still, it's less of an impact than when you do both. And also, the fact that you have the hamstring only day, it's kind of like a recovery day, which I hate to call it, because the goal is for hamstrings to also be so intense that I actually kind of feel it the day after. So, yeah, but still, hamstrings is like kind of a smaller muscle, so you're gonna get less impact anyway. It's like trying to, you know, finish off your forearm so much that you feel it the day after. It's just so difficult to get sore in forearms. But anyway, that doesn't mean that you can try to make it as intense as possible, right? Because, often you say, well, forearms by itself or legs, hamstrings by itself, it's not intense enough. Well, then make it more freaking intense. It's not difficult, right? I mean, I have this issue. I was thinking this by myself the other day, right? Like, hamstrings is kind of a short training. Like, I only spent 40 minutes on hamstrings, and it's not that intense. So, why don't I just take more rest time? I mean, it's such an obvious thought, but I wasn't thinking about it. I was doing my sits for hamstrings, I think every 3 minutes, and then I would do one exercise, and I would do it for 3 to 5 sits because that was my volume I was doing. Actually, today I won't even be doing volume, so I will be doing even less sits. But anyway, after that, I would do like more finishing off exercises, and it would be 2 sets of this or 3 sets of that. And in the end, I would spend, including my warm-up, 40 minutes, which is fine, you know. If it works for you, it works for you. I was making progress, but I feel like every time, like after 2 days, I'm like, well, I can do another hamstring day, kind of, or after 3 days instead of 4. So I have more room, right? Because I do my hamstrings and then I do upper body, then I do quadriceps, and then I do upper body, and then I do hamstrings. I have 3 days to recover. And well, the third day, basically, I don't need. So that means I can make my hamstrings more, my hamstring training more effective. And basically, if you're like, well, my training is short and it's not intense enough, it may sound just a bit counterintuitive, but just add more rest time, because if you add more rest and you go intense on every set, well, you can go harder because you rested more. And I think that's like something I overlooked for so long, and it sounds so stupid. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna try today actually. So after I'm done running with my brother, I'll go to my parents' house because they have a staircase, and I have one too, but it's locked out. I'm painting the room again, the training room, so it should be finished soon. And right now the door is locked, so I can't go outside to access my stairs. So I'll go to my parents' house, access the stairs, and I'll do the Nordic curl. And yeah, I guess I'll do a voiceover of the training. Or maybe I'll just talk about it and then show you the clips in between. But yeah, I'll talk more about the Nordic curl. Alright, so let me start the explanation about the training with glazing the exercise again. I'm such a fan of the Nordic curl, it's not normal, but if you're going to the gym, I don't care, do this exercise. It's so good, and you get such strong hamstrings, it's gonna carry over to your other hamstring training as well. You know, the only thing I don't like about doing all the training at home is I don't have the leg curls like gym guys have. But to be honest, the Nordic curl by itself is nice. It would just be nice to have a leg curl, like as an assistance exercise, like accessory, I should say. So the Nordic curl, you know, we have the big 3 lifts, but if there was a fourth one, it would be the Nordic curl, especially in bodyweight, because, you know, the deadlift in bodyweight, I call the front lever, but you don't have any leg part of your posterior chain there. So the Nordic curl is quite essential. And actually, with showing the Nordic curl now, I've shown like 80% of my training, I guess. Like Nordic curl, pistol squats, planche, and front lever. Those are like 80% of my training. So those are like the basics, right? But anyway, the Nordic curl is so good because it hits your hamstrings. Hamstrings like super hard, of course, but also just your posterior chain, your lower back. Like when you do the Nordic curl, especially the version where you bend over your hip, I will show you as the last exercise. You get a like strong lower back as well. So it's very good. Anyway, the first exercise I will do today is just the Nordic curl, the full version. I actually recently unlocked this for reps, and my PR at the moment is 5. So of course, I'm pre-recording this. I don't know how many I'll get, but I'm hoping to get 6, of course. Yeah, I just ended a volume period for Nordic curls where I use my finger assistance. And basically, I got quite a lot stronger there, so I'm hoping I can get stronger on the actual Nordic curl as well. So I will probably try 1 max out set for this. Yeah, I will not do 2 or 3 sets of Nordic curl. I will try to get as many reps as possible for the coming few trainings. And then after that, I hope I will be able to, you know, do like 8 reps. And as soon as I'm getting 8 reps, I want to try and do it for like multiple sets, you know, the Nordic curl itself. Basically, if you're like unlocking an exercise, for example, you unlock in my case the Nordic curl, you unlock a 1-arm pull-up, you unlock the front lever. The biggest mistake I see guys do is they unlock it and then they only do the movement, or even if they can only hold the front lever for like 1 second, or they can do it only for 1 rep. If you only do that, your working volume will go down the drain. It will really just, you know, be in the lowest valley it can be. and you'll get weaker again. And that's normal because you're not doing as much as you used to. So when you unlock an exercise, I mean, the biggest thing is to just continue doing whatever unlocked it, right? However, you have to make sure that you keep getting stronger. You have to keep hitting PRs. So for the Nordic curl, I was doing a lot of finger assisted Nordic curls. So what I did after I unlocked it for 3, 4, 5 reps, it's still not enough. So what I did is I took a backoff period and I just kept working on PRs with my finger assistance. If you're doing it for the one arm pull-up, well, you do it with a band assistance and then you do the one arm pull-up. Even if you unlocked it, just keep working on PRs with the band, keep working on better negatives, and so on. And then you can keep your working volume. That's the most important part. And then every now and then you can check, hey, did I get stronger? And eventually you'll be able to get 2 reps. You'll be able to get 3 reps. And then you slowly work towards having enough volume with the one arm pull-up alone or the Nordic curl alone, but it takes a while. And if you can get there, then your strength will just skyrocket. So for now, just 1 set of the Nordic curl attempt. I will hopefully get 6 reps, you'll see in a second. Alright, I had some tunes playing, I had to cut those out, but my god, this was a set for the ages. I got 7 big boys, I'm just gonna spoil it, 7 big boys, and I was aiming for 6. I got 7, and then after that I just did the drop set. I used my fingers as assistants and I got 3 more. Oh my goodness. It was so intense, I was grunting so loud, it sounded like the biggest diarrhea in my life. And in the background it was like, there's no easy way out. It was epic, you know, you should have been there. But yeah, that was my first set. Alright, how did it go? I'm so jealous that you know and I don't know yet. But anyway, after the attempt, so like a max out set, as you will see, it's quite intense because even after maxing out the Nordic curls, I then moved to finger assistance for drop sets, right? And the finger assistance is actually quite a good one to unlock the Nordic curls because it allows you to get full range of motion. And then at the top, only there you will have to, remove your fingers to get up all the way. And then you get like a big squeeze in your hamstrings. So, just based on your level, you can use 1 finger, like index finger, or 2 fingers, or 3 or 4, I don't know. I would avoid using the pinky. I read it, it's kind of scary, in my opinion, to use the pinky. Maybe just because my pinkies are weak. But yeah, I don't think you need it really on this one to unlock the Nordic curl. But anyway, like this drop set, if I do it multiple sets, actually, maybe I should do it multiple sets, I was whining about... Yeah, what the fuck? I was whining about hamstring exercises not being too intense. Or like the training. Maybe I should try 2 sets today. I will try 2 sets today. Anyway, after that, I will move on to, I think, yeah, or either some, just straight sets of finger assisted or some holds. I think holds because the weakest position is the most difficult one. And basically, you train a position by spending time in it, right? We said that yesterday. What I will do is I will try to hold the bottom position. I will probably only be able to hold it for a few seconds, or maybe no seconds if I do enough sets of the Nordic curl. And then after that, I will drop set it with finger assistance holds. And I will do that for probably about 3 sets. And this just allows me to spend time in the bottom position, try to activate my hamstrings from there. And yeah, it really burns in the hamstring. I really like this one as well. And it gets me strong in that position. So that's another one, a good one to learn the Nordic curl. All right, so as you can see, I hold the position and then I add my fingers and I can hold for a bit longer. Happy days. And it gets me really fucking tired in the hamstrings. So then we move on to the last exercise, which is kind of like a beginner version of the Nordic curl. This one is actually like a very important one to start training the Nordic curl. But if you do use it, or yeah, I'll explain it afterwards, I guess. If you do use it, you have to be careful. I'll explain it afterwards, after I've shown the movement. But this one, you basically set up the same as a normal Nordic curl. You know, you hook your heels off like behind the stairs or something, and then you go down, but you bend in your hip. And by bending in your hip, you know, your leverage when you go down, it will be less. And also, you know, because it's less heavy on the hamstring, of course. But you go down by bending your hips, touch your chin or whatever to the ground, and then you go back up. And it's not only in the hamstrings, of course, you can also see, or you will be able to see that I'm moving my lower back a lot. So it's like a back extension. And actually, even though it's bodyweight, it's quite freaking heavy, you know, especially after a full training. I'm only able to do this for like, 8 to 10 reps most of the time. And I always feel them in my lower back, especially if I do more and more sets. Then, I start to feel it. So I will just show this one, and then, yeah, we'll get on with why you should watch out with this exercise as well. All right, so as you saw, I did the beginner Nordic curl. I don't really know what to call them, maybe bent hip Nordics. But you have to watch out with these because the range of motion is very limited. Not in the lower back. The lower back is fine, of course. But if you watch the hamstrings, they barely move. And that's not good if you keep doing them and only them. Because, there's pressure on your tendons at all time. You have your tendons connecting to the back of your knee. And if you just keep them flexed all the time in that range of motion and you do it training after training, you will get hurt. I got hurt doing this. And I was like, why the hell am I getting hurt on Nordic curl? I am doing the least impactful exercise. It's the easiest variation, right? I can do it for 20 reps and more if I'm fresh, and that was months ago. So why am I getting hurt? And it's because there's no range of motion. So even if you're a beginner, it's of course very good to try these, but always try these at the end of your training. And before that, use the finger assistance. If you can't get all the way up, you can't release your fingers and get all the way up, that's fine. You can maybe use a bit of momentum, or you can just go up as far as your arms reach, You don't release your fingers, just go up halfway, and you'll get stronger as well. But you need some kind of range of motion in your knees, because if you don't, then your tendons will start cramping up and your calves will start cramping up. Well, maybe if you start like training the Nordic curls, your calves will cramp up anyway. You'll notice it soon enough, but that's fine. Just make sure that you have a range of motion in your knees. That's the most important part. So It's kind of difficult to talk about today's training because I haven't done it yet. But anyway, I hope today's training will have been more intense. I was just talking to you guys, and then I noticed I've been bitching about Nordics or the hamstring training not being like as intense as it could be. And then I'm sitting here, I'm only doing one set of the full Nordics because it's too intense. Like, it doesn't make sense. Today I'm gonna do two at least. So if I didn't, then you can bash me in the comments. But anyway, yeah. Maybe I should talk about like one of the advantages that you split up your leg day training, because what I see guys often do is they like see hamstrings as like, oh, the fluff, it's like the byproduct of leg day. It's not really that important. Quadriceps is the most important. If you split them up, you can invest more energy in both, like not only hamstrings but also quadriceps. You only have to focus on quadriceps, and I think just both body parts will get more gains. I get 3 rest days between each body part, my hamstrings and my quadriceps. And that's quite a lot, but I am doing leg day every 2 days. So every 2 days, I'm getting like super massive gains on either quadriceps or the hamstrings. And I'm not like putting more focus on one or the other because I every day only have one of them to focus on. So I am getting better gains for my quadriceps, better gains for my hamstrings. I have less impact on my other trainings, and you know, I'm just making more gains, and this works for me. I'm not saying you have to do this. This especially works for me because I'm training every day. But you know, you just everyone's situation is different, right? Some I have a full-time job. Some people, have wife and children. Some people are students, and you just have to fit in your schedule what's possible. For some people, well, they need a day off because they need the time. Well, then you can do them both together. You just have to figure out for yourself what works. But I really think it's not a bad thing to split up the leg day. So if you're wondering, like, well, I want to do leg day, but it's too much for me, consider splitting it up. I think it's a really good approach, and you can go really intense on both of the hamstring and the quadriceps. Some people they ignore the hamstring almost completely, but with this one, you'll get a balanced set of juicy legs. So that's it for the rant today, and I'll see you tomorrow for another upper body day. Tomorrow is the 5 rep day, right? I'm going to try to get the planche for 5 push-ups for 5 reps. So yeah, quite excited for that one.